Welcome to DevOps Toolkit, the channel where even videos are decoupled. Imagine a world where everyone minds their own business. A world where no one tells anyone what to do and where no one is forcing anyone to do something. A world where everyone is focused only and exclusively on their own tasks and nothing else. A world where we work in complete isolation, yet a world where everything is done more efficiently. In such a world, each of us would do a task and when finished, announce to the world that we are done. After that, we would pick another task from the pile that corresponds to our specific skill set instead of being told what to do. The process would be very simple and applied to everyone. Pick a task, do it, say that you're done, repeat. Now, that might not be the world we would like to live in, but that might be a perfect world for processes. That might be just the way we should organize our applications. In such a world, there would be no direct communication. Applications would not need to know that other applications exist. They would not be sending messages to any other application. Instead, everything would be based on events. An application could either publish messages describing what happened or subscribe to specific types of messages and react to whatever is coming from wherever it's coming. That will be the subject we will explore today. We'll see how we could completely decouple applications and make them oblivious of any other processes in our system. We'll try to accomplish an utter and complete separation of concerns by adopting event-based architecture. The first and the most important thing we need when implementing event-based architecture is pub-sub messaging. That could be Kafka, Pulsar, RabbitMQ, or any other similar solution. We won't use any of those today. Instead, I picked NATS because it's awesome. It's fast and simple, and I will avoid doing a comparison with other similar tools, mostly because that's not today's subject. Everything we'll do today can be done with any other pub-sub tool. So think of today's usage of NATS as a way to demonstrate how event-driven architecture could be done, rather than me telling you that NATS is the best tool of that kind. I mean, it's great, it's awesome, you should be using, but that's not the point. You can do everything I'm doing today with any pub-sub tool. Let's take a quick break to introduce you to Netdata Windows Agent, the sponsor of this video. Netdata's new Windows Agent offers real-time monitoring and deep insights for Windows environments, providing a powerful, lightweight solution to help IT teams manage their systems efficiently. With native installation, real-time metrics, event log monitoring, anomaly detection and integration with Netdata Cloud, it simplifies the complexity of Windows monitoring and delivers comprehensive performance optimization. Netdata is known as an observability platform for Linux and Unix-based systems, and now, with the introduction of the native Windows agent, Netdata is extending their monitoring capabilities to Windows environments, enabling seamless and unified monitoring across diverse infrastructures. Thank you, Netdata, for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to the main subject. Now, I'm inside a container running in a Kubernetes cluster. While in there, I will be executing some NATS command, and you will have to imagine that's not what I'm doing. Instead, every time I execute NATS, this and that, you should pretend that it is your application doing the same. Later on, we will see how all that is done from inside an application, but for now, executing NATS commands will be an easy way to demonstrate what your apps should be doing. Also, you should note that none of the applications in my cluster are aware of each other. The only thing they know how to do is send messages or listen for messages sent by others. There will be no direct communication involved. None. Finally, before we proceed, you should know that there are channels. They are, in a way, similar to channels we use to talk to each other without talking to anyone directly. A NATS channel is similar to Reddit feeds, Slack channels, or Discord topics. There are only two things we can do in those channels. We can post a message and we can read messages posted by others. In other words, we can read and we can write. Or to use NATS terminology, we can subscribe to a channel and we can publish a message to a channel. That's it. That's all we can do. That's all we are allowed to do at least today. Okay, that's the pep talk. Now let's start by publishing a message to the test channel. Let's say hi. We published a message and that's it. We are done. We don't care whether someone will read it or not. For all we know, maybe no one read that message, or maybe many received it and are doing something with it. The key here is that we do not care, and that's something that might be very hard to grasp initially. We are likely used to work with applications that send direct messages to each other. We might be used to sending requests and expecting responses. This is different. It's fire and forget. It's separation of concerns. I did my part and I assume that everyone else will do theirs. Besides publishing messages, we can also subscribe to messages from a channel. We do not necessarily know who will publish something, but we sure can listen. For example, we can subscribe to a channel ping. So we subscribe to the ping channel, and now is the waiting time. Something might post a message to that channel or not. We're going to wait. There we go. We just received a message on that channel stating that Silly Demo is here, asking whether there is anyone else around, and instructing us to say hi on the sillydemo.hello channel. Some other process published that message on that channel. As a matter of fact, as we'll see later, we have an application in that cluster that is publishing that message once every minute. It's obviously not a very clever app, but a dumb one doing the same thing over and over again. As a result, we'll see another one of those messages a minute later, and we'll keep doing that until the end of days. Okay, now let's follow the instructions from those messages by canceling subscription and publishing a message to sillydemo.hello channel. Now, nothing interesting happened as a result of publishing that message, at least not where we are currently. Remember, it's fire and forget, at least for now. However, if you take a look at the logs of the other application, we can see that it got our message. That application is obviously subscribed to the sillydemo.hello channel. We sent a message to no one in particular, and that message was received by whomever is subscribed to that channel. Now, to be clear, we are not limited only to fire and forget messages. We can also send requests similar to HTTP requests we would normally send to applications, except that this time those requests are being sent to NATS. As a result, we don't need to know who should the message be sent to and who should respond to it. We can just request something and hope that there is a process that is listening to that channel and respond. Here's how that looks like. We'll send a request to the Fibonacci.request channel asking for something. The assumption is that there are processes subscribed to that channel that can calculate Fibonacci numbers. And there we go. We got a response that can be loosely interpreted as, you silly thing, don't you know that you need to send a number if you would like someone to calculate Fibonacci for you? There was obviously a process, or maybe even multiple processes, subscribed to that channel. When we sent a message as a request, one of those processes responded. We sent a request instead of just publishing a message, and we got that response. Let's try again, but this time with a message that is an actual number. This time we did get the calculated number 6765. Whomever is subscribed to that channel got our message, calculated the Fibonacci number, and sent it back to NATS, not to us, to NATS, which routed it back to us. So far, we were publishing, subscribing, and requesting from channels. We did that through our applications, or in this case, through simulation of what would be done by our apps. However, and this is important, we are not limited to using pub/sub model only with our applications. We could be using that model from anywhere. For example, let's say that we have a CI workflow. That workflow could be running some tests and building and pushing images to registry. From the workflow perspective, we would not necessarily know whether there are some other activities that should be done afterward. The beauty of this model is that we would not need to know or care. That would be someone else's problem, if it is a problem in the first place. All we would have to do is publish a message that the workflow is finished. Fire and forget. That could look something like this. We would publish a message on the CI channel Since in this hypothetical scenario, the workflow just finished CI for the application called silly demo, that would be the sub-channel we will post. Now, to be clear, we would not be sending such a message manually, but through GitHub Actions, Jenkins, Argo Workflows, or whichever other solution we might be using. The point is that the process is done and that we announced it. If there is anyone or anything that needs to do something afterwards, it's their responsibility to subscribe to that channel, listen to the messages, and, if needed, perform some actions. We can see that one of the applications in the cluster received the message and did whatever needs to be done as a result of that. In the real world situation, that subscriber could have been, let's say, Argo Events, which, among other things, can subscribe to NATS channels and trigger actions as a result of specific messages. It could have triggered another workflow run, or it could have created a Kubernetes job, or anything else. The sky is the limit, but the point is still the same. Everything is decoupled, and none of the processes care what comes before or what should happen afterwards. The only thing they should care about is doing whatever they should be doing, and either subscribing to channels as a way to deduce what should be done, or publishing messages as a way to announce that something has to be done, or could be done, or you don't care, just announce what you did. Now, let's see what would happen if you send the same message but to the CI serious demo instead of CI silly demo channel. Unlike the last time, this time nothing happened in the logs of the application listening to NATS. That application is most likely listening only to the sub-channel silly demo, while we send a message to serious demo announcing that the workflow run of that application is finished. Even though silly demo is subscribed to the CI channel, it is focused exclusively on the sub-channel it's interested in, to silly demo. We could, however, subscribe to all the sub-channels as well. There could be, for example, a process that is interested in all workflow runs, no matter which application initiated them. But before we see that in action, let us first stop watching logs of the application. Next, we'll simulate an application by entering into the shell of a container with the NATS client and subscribe to ci.*. Asterisk means everything, so we just subscribed to all messages in all sub-channels of CI. Now, let's publish the same two messages we published earlier. First, we'll announce that the CI of silly demo is finished. And there we go. We got the message, hence confirming that it worked. Similarly, we can publish a message announcing that CI of serious demo finished as well. And there we go. We received that message as well, thus confirming that we are subscribed to all sub-channels of CI. Now, the only thing left is to explore the code from one of the applications. That should give us an idea how everything we saw so far works. Okay, let's take a look at the code that publishes, subscribes, and requests messages from NATS channels. That code was written in Go, but the same logic applies to any other language. NATS supports them all. Now, do not blame NATS if your favorite language is not supported. You probably chose a wrong language to code. It's your problem, not NATS' problem. In any case, the important note is that working with NATS is very simple. For example, the NATS publish function connects to the NATS server and publishes a message. That's all it takes to publish. Subscription in NATS subscribe might be, in this case, a bit more complicated since it involves running in a separate thread. Still, the essence of it is simple. We subscribe to a channel and wait for messages. When a message comes, we respond to it, probably after doing some calculation or executing some task. That's most of what you need to know. It's simple, and that's what makes it great. No fuss, only a few lines of code or execution of a single command if you choose to use the CLI instead. So, now it's your turn to let me know if you would like me to go deeper into events. Would it make sense to show a practical implementation of event-driven CI/CD? Or maybe you would like to see how messaging is implemented in a standard form using cloud events and CD events? Do you have something else in mind? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Cheers.